Hi, let us begin with this course on Python programming. And today we will look at very simple stuff. Most of the things that you see today are, in fact, pretty obvious, but we need to cover them because we are looking at this language from the basic details for the very first time. Okay, so for these very basics, I will be referring to this book called Python for Everybody, and I have shared this on MS Teams. Okay, so what I want you to do is once you look at this video lecture, I want you to go back and read through this particular section of this book and also repeat whatever we did on the online Python interpreter or emulator as such. Okay, so where are we going? So we go directly to chapter 2. Okay, chapter 1 is just an introduction to the book and things. Those are not important for us. We'll start directly from chapter 2. Okay, and what are we really going to do? We are not really studying this book as such. We are using this simply as a guide for seeing what commands to type, what programs to execute, and so on. Okay, so where are we going to work with our Python code? So for that we are here. So if you remember in the first lecture I had showed you an online compiler for Python. There are many. Okay, so I am choosing this one. You can either try on this one or you can try on any other one also, not really a problem. Okay, so you can simply type Python online in Google and you'll get many. Okay, so you'll get this one, you will get another one by Python. Oh, not this one, sorry. You get another one by Python. Okay, you have even this one by online GDB. Then you have this one. Okay, none of it really matters. You can pick any one. Okay, doesn't really matter which one you pick. So I'll pick the first Google search option that I get. Okay, that's all. So what do we do first? We open this and then first of all we select everything here and clear it out because we want a blank page. Okay, we will start with a blank page. That's all. Okay, so now let's go back to the PDF and I'll just read through some important parts. Okay, right. So what is a value? Okay, anything that we type or anything that the program makes use of is a value, right? A value is a basic thing. A value is a basic thing that the program works with, like a letter or a number. Okay, that's all there is. So values are the integers that you type. Okay, the string. Okay, for example, any sentence or word or phrases that you type, that is a value. More generally, a matrix that you enter is a value. Okay, in fact, even more generally, an array is a value, a list is a value, a tree is a value. Okay, these are all values but of different types. Okay, these are all values of different types. So values belong to different types. Just like 2 is an integer, hello world is a string. Okay, this is called a string. Usually anything that is text, right? Anything that you speak or anything that is a collection of words is usually called a string. So hello world is a string. A matrix will have type matrix. Okay. If it is a tree, binary tree, then it will have type binary tree. Okay. That is the idea. So values belong to different types. Okay. All right. So this is value and the types for values. And now what about a command? Okay. Whatever we type in Python is called a Python command, and Python command comprises of statements as well as values of different types. For example, one simple Python command is just print 4. What does it comprise of? It comprises of the statement print followed by an argument. It's called argument passed to the statement. Okay. What is the argument? 4, which is a value of type integer. Okay. So that is what this is. So here they have started off this program by the keyword Python because they are using some other uh, page, okay, where there are more than one language available. We are sticking with this page where we already know that this is Python, so we don't need to type the first line. Okay, we can directly start with the first statement directly. Okay, with the command itself. Okay, so let us try this. So we'll type print 4. Okay, let me magnify this. Yeah. Okay, so once again, print 4. We have typed this. What to do? Click on run. And what do you see? The value 4. Okay, so it has simply printed the value that you input. Okay, simply printed the value that you input with the Python statement print, Python command print. Okay, so there is not too much of a difference between statement and command, so I'll use them interchangeably. Okay, command is just a statement along with other things, values, types, etc. That's all. All right. Okay. Now Python itself can tell you what is the type of a certain value, right? So for example, this is a string, so this should be of type string. 17 is an integer, it should be of type integer. So Python by itself, so you see, when we call it, we will call it type because it is type of value, but Python calls it class. Okay, Python, whenever Python says class, it means type. But whenever we have to say type, we will say type. Okay, that is the main thing. Okay, so if you say type of this thing, hello world, Python will say this is of type string, but then it will write class str. Str is the name of the type. Okay. Similarly, if I say type 17, Python will say class integer or int. This is the name for the class integer. Okay. Class and type are one and the same thing. Whenever we say type, we have to say type. But whenever Python gives us the output, it will call it class. Okay, that is the only difference. Okay, so let's try this both now. So type of hello world. Okay. Oh, I should not press enter. Enter does not work here. We have to press run. So not working. Okay, let me check. Okay, this is not showing for some reason. Okay, so let us change this. Okay, so let's go to this one. This one should work, hopefully. Okay, so let's do this. It's not really entering anything. Okay, so let me just check what is wrong here and I'll get back to you. Okay, so yeah, so in between there might be some changes from what you see in this book as we just saw, right? Something was not working. So why was it not working? Let me just go back to this. So we were trying to find out the type of whatever we write, okay? And then Python is supposed to tell us what is a type, right? What is a class, correct? Now the thing is, this one was not working because this command has a change, okay? So what is a change? When we are asking for the type of the value, but we want Python to print it for us, right? So we are also supposed to include a print command, okay? So how do we do that? So this is what we will do. We will first write print what? Print the type of the value that I give, right? And now let's write hello. Okay. Now when you run, you'll see class str. Okay, so that was a typo in the book. Okay, so let's not worry too much about it. Simple minded principle, whatever you have to print, whatever you want to see on the right hand side, whatever you want to see as output, you have to print it somehow. Okay, so let us stick to that. Okay. Similarly, let's do something else. Print type 17 and shows class int, right? Class integer. Okay, right. That is where we are. So we will keep this in mind. Okay, as we go ahead. Okay. Now what do you do when you have decimal numbers? So decimal numbers are represented by the type is called floating point or float in short. Okay, decimal numbers are called float in short. So let's check that. Some 4.5. See, the type is float. Okay, right. So once again check. Okay, now here look at this. This is actually a number, but this has been entered as a string. Okay, what is the difference? So when you enter type as 17, it shows you integer. But when you type as 17 inside quotation marks, it will show you class string. Because anything entered inside quotation marks is assumed to be a string. That is the rule. Okay. Anything entered within quotation marks is assumed to be a string. So let me show you that also. So print type, but now within quotation marks, let's say 4.56678. This should show string because it's within quotation marks. Okay, within quotation marks, therefore the type is string. Okay, so that is what it is. These are strings. Now print command we have already seen. So basically here they are saying that you cannot enter a number with commas. Okay, Python will not understand that. This when you say 1 comma 0 0 0, it will think of it as an array 1 0 0. Okay, not so important. We'll get into this later when we consider arrays. Okay. Let's move on to variables. Okay, variables are supposed to do what? As we have already seen in programs, variables are supposed to store values, right? So that's it. So that is supposed to store values. So let me now clear all of this. Also, let's have some variables. So welcome and some welcome message. So welcome to the course. Okay, this is one variable. Welcome is the variable. It is saving the value. Welcome to the course by the programming, which has type string. Okay. Now let us also write duration equal to 3. Okay. So this is a variable duration. It is saving the value 3 and 3 has type integer. Okay. 3 has type integer. Okay, fine. Now let's do something decimal. Right. So what is the lecture number? So this is lecture number. Let me just call this 1.1. Okay. First chapter, first lecture. Let me just call this 1.1. Right. Okay. So when I do this and when I run this, what do I get? I don't get anything because these values have been saved. I am not printing anything. So this will not show. Okay. They have just been assigned. That's all. So in order to print, what do I do? Print welcome. See, and then it will print the value in the variable welcome. Similarly, print duration. So the value 3. Okay. Now I say print 1.1. Right? Okay. Okay, so the last part of this first video is about the variable names, right? So we just looked at variables and now what names can you give to variables? Variable names can be almost everything except some, there are very small exceptions. Okay. So for instance, a variable name, so let's begin with this. Variable name can be as long as you want, arbitrarily long, which means as long as you want. They can contain both letters and numbers, that is not a problem. But they cannot start with a number. Okay, a variable name cannot start with a number. For example, here they are giving an example. They're calling 76 trombones to be a variable name and giving it the value, the string, Big Parade. Right? It will throw an error. We'll check that in 1 second. Okay. Similarly, we can use uppercase and lowercase letters. Okay, but we usually begin. So good idea. We usually begin variable names with a lowercase letter. Okay, that is just for the first letter of the variable name. Okay, that is usually kept small. Right. The underscore character can also appear, but we usually avoid it. We don't use it as much. Okay, so we try to avoid it as much as possible because it comes at other places. Okay, for example, there are things called library codes and all. That is where underscore is usually used. So we will not use it very freely. Okay, so if we give a variable an illegal name, illegal in the sense, if it starts with a number, things like that, then it will not be accepted. Okay. So for example, as we just saw, it cannot start with a number. Here in the second one, there is a symbol at the rate that is part of the variable name. Special symbols that at the rate, hash, dollar, percentage, and asterisk, exclamation. All of these cannot be part of variable names. Cannot be part of variable names. Okay. Similarly, you cannot call a variable name as class because Python already knows that class means type. Remember? So there are special words that Python already knows. Okay. So it turns out that class is one of Python's keywords. These are words that Python understands. Keywords. Keywords cannot be used as variable names. Okay. So yeah, just as I mentioned, more and is illegal because it contains an illegal character at the rate. Okay, because it is a special character. Similarly, class is a keyword. Okay, which keywords cannot be used? There are 35 of them. And, del, from, none, true, as, elif, global, non-local, try, and so on. Okay, just read through this list 2-3 times and you'll get a feel for what these words are. Okay. So for example, while is the name of while loop. So you don't want to use it in a variable name. If is an if else condition. Remember, it comes in if else condition. So you're not supposed to use that. We have seen break statement in loops. So you cannot use that. True, false, these kinds of words cannot be used because we use them in if else cases, right? Or and we use them in loops, we cannot use them. Return statement, we have seen return statements in previous course, so return cannot be used. So each of these keywords has a specific meaning, specific purpose, so we cannot use them in variable names. Okay, so now let me just show you this example, right? So for example, let me show you, let's try something. While equal to 25, while is not supposed to work. Okay? For equal to 30.2, for is not supposed to work. Class equal to Ramesh. Class is not supposed to work. Okay. Similarly, let's now give special characters. At the rate variance 3.2 not supposed to work. Okay. Percentage or let's say, let me give this in between so that it gets more difficult. Okay. Mean percentage or let's say percentage mean 25. These are for special symbols. Beginning with numbers 98 seasons equal to season 1. What is so? Okay, let me remove the previous things. These are the ones that we are looking at right now. I also clear this. Let's give one more. Print to case equal to, let us say, okay, just typing some things. None of these should work. These are all wrong. Okay, because while is used in while loop, for is used in for loop, class is what Python refers to for type, variance and ampersand is used, and character is used. It's not supposed to work. Percentage character is used. Here the variable name has a number. Okay, let's run and see. Okay, so the first one itself is wrong. While 25. Therefore, Python just stopped there. Python did not even go to the second line. Okay, so that is what I wanted you to note. Whenever there is a mistake, Python will just stop there. It will not go to the next line at all. Okay, so here there was a mistake. So let's now delete it. Let's run the second one. Once again, now here, this is the problem. So now let me delete this. Now this is my first line. Again, this will not run. Now variance and once again, invalid syntax. Okay, file string. What does invalid syntax mean? It means this is not, this way of writing or giving the variable name is not valid, invalid. Okay, that's all. And the arrow shows why it is invalid, just as in the previous examples. 98 seasons, again, 98 is the problem. Just remove that. Now let's check the last one, print to case. Nothing happened. It means probably print to case works. Okay. So probably it has been saved. So let's now check. Yes, it has been saved. Why? Because in this variable name, there was a number, but it was not at the starting. It was in between. Numbers can appear in between. Numbers can even appear at the end. I can write print case 2 equal to See the second one also printed. Numbers can appear in between or at the end. They are just not supposed to appear at the start. They are not allowed to appear at the start. So two print case will not work. See, line 5 it gives me the error. Two print case will not work. Syntax error. Line 5. Alright. Numbers cannot appear at the beginning of variable names. That's all. Okay, so we will stop this video here and try this out on your own. Okay, and also go through in this book, go through up to this part, up to here. So 2.4 is where we begin with statements. So you are supposed to read up to 2.3 variable names and keywords. Up to 2.3, just go through these and try whatever we have done here. So okay, so we will stop here right now.